name is Kirill and I am a software engineer working mostly with backend and operations these days. There was again a big gap between my previous video and this one. The reason is that I'm not still quite sure what my videos should be about. I mean, the general idea is set in stone. I will be talking about what is interesting for me. It is Ruby, JavaScript, Golang, DevOps, Serverless, and AWS. But the format is still to be developed. Should it be some technical news related to these fields? Should it be some my opinions, or should it be some tutorials, how-tos? So I'm still in my search. As far as I feel by myself, how-tos are much better in written form, so I use my text blog for that. So this video blog, I'll try to keep doing only reviews of technical news or articles or some interesting topics I read recently about. And today I have two stories for you. They both are about serverless, and let's start with the first one, which is absolutely untechnical. This article is a transcript from a podcast of guys named Track 10, and they are kind of consultancy in serverless field. This article gives a list of common misconceptions people usually have about serverless, and they have a list of five, and I will highlight just a couple of them which I find most interesting. The first one is that serverless is just a hype and eventually it will end and everyone will move back to dedicated servers, or even that actually everyone is talking about it but no one is using serverless in reality in production. The author negates it and I fully agree with him. This word is really everywhere. I mean, literally, you go to any conference and you hear serverless or lambdas from stage, after talks, when people are drinking beer. It's literally everywhere. But the thing is that people really use it. They not just talk about it, they really use it, and we are using it in the company I'm currently working in. And we are not serverless development consultancy agency. We use it because it makes sense, and actually where it makes sense. We don't use it absolutely everywhere. The second point author highlights is that with serverless you'll be completely vendor locked. But the thing is that I don't think that it is a myth. It is like a semi-myth, and it's quite reasonable concern from any of you considering switching to serverless architecture. I had this concern by myself for quite a long time, but then I realized one thing. If you are already in the cloud, you are already kind of, at least partially, vendor locked. You are either on AWS or on Azure or Google Cloud, or even worse, on Heroku, which is much more difficult to migrate from. I had an experience in one of my past companies when we were migrating from Heroku to AWS. It took us really a while. And you are vendor locked not just because of some computational instances, some servers. You are vendor locked because it's really tempting to start using very convenient tools like SQS instead of RabbitMQ, or DynamoDB in some certain cases instead of maybe MongoDB or Redis. It's definitely not the substitution, but it's still much more easy to set up and to work with, at least up to some point. And keeping this in mind makes you feel in a different way. If you switch to lambdas, to small functions, it will make you even easier to migrate from one provider to another, because either you're migrating your huge application one at once, or you just have your, I don't know, 150 lines lambda function which you have to migrate. Yes, obviously you'll have some connections to different services inside, but it doesn't 100% mean that you should migrate this coupling, these connections, these relations as well. And also you'll need to change some SDKs and some interfaces you're interacting with. But still, this point became much weaker for me, this concern point became much weaker for me. As I already told, author described 5 fallacies, but I found other 3 of them are even weaker, even less important. But if you're curious, go and check out. I will include link into the show notes. And I will move on to the second topic, and its title is, I will read it. A year of going fully serverless in production. Lessons learned. Honestly, I would expect more numbers. I would like to have more numbers in such kind of articles. But even without them, this is a success story which I really enjoy, and I think if you're looking into moving to serverless or you're starting your path going there, you will enjoy it as well. They had their application, Node.js application, separated in 3 levels. First level is a React application served by some CDN, Netlify. Unfortunately, I didn't use it yet, but I have it now in my pocket and I'm going to at least take a look. Second part was backend API, which, as I already told you, had been implemented in Node.js. And the third part is some background jobs. And one sunny day, they suddenly realized that their architecture actually can easily be moved to Lambda functions, which is quite reasonable because they already have their front-end absolutely separated. They didn't have any server-side rendering, for example. Also, their background jobs can easily be implemented using AWS CloudWatch. So the only thing left is the backend itself. And here starts something weird, because they didn't segregate their application into multiple smaller ones, but they just took their big monolith. I'm sure that it's not a huge monolith, but still I think if it's production application, it's quite big. So they put it into one Lambda function. And even with this, by my opinion, strange architectural decision, Lambdas show them much better performance and costs. It is against all best practices, but they found their way how to make it work. For example, they configured their Webpack in a certain way that it removed completely all README files or test files, to kind of minify in this way their source code. And so, as I say, they're perfectly happy with their setup, with their deployment process, and really they're really satisfied about their costs. The only thing they have, which is a problem not only for them, but for probably some other people as well, for many other people as well, is local testing. Anyway, it is still solvable. You can write unit tests, or you can use AWS standard solution. I think its name is SAM, which is not perfect, but still usable. And there are few of third-party solutions as well. In the worst case, you can just have some sandbox account which you will be using, like with some test setup as a pre-stage before production. You can have it staging, or it can even be some development server going, not server, development serverless server going before even staging. So if you want to hear one more success story, go and check this article. Actually, I described it completely, but still, if you like to read things, if you already starting your journey to serverless, or you just going right now to start it, I have a series of articles in my blog, how-tos. It's how to start using AWS Lambda functions, even with infrastructure as a code using Terraform. So go and check it out. I also put it in the show notes. And now I think I can call it a day and go to my ice cream, because it's pretty hot these days in Berlin. So I will see you very soon. If you enjoyed this video, put a thumb up. See you, have all the best, and yeah, I will see you very soon. Bye.